Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be talking about my April reads. I feel like I haven't recorded a video in ages, which usually means that I haven't, and I haven't posted since my March wrap up. So I've been a little bit lackadaisical in my recording, mostly because my husband and I went on vacation last week. We went to Oregon, did a little road trip thing. It's the first vacation we've ever had as a married couple, which is crazy. We've been married for 4 years. So it was a very much needed vacation, but in a good way. We had a really good time. It was really cold. We did all the things that we wanted to, so it was fun. I did film a little vlog for it, but that may just be for my husband and my enjoyment in later years. I don't know if I'll ever post it on here because I don't do vlogs and I don't know how to do them, so I just feel like I would just make a fool of myself. I already do that enough with just my book videos. Let's just get right into it. I read, actually let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 books this month. Really? That's a lot. That's a lot of books. Definitely not as much as my huge month last month, but 11 books is a lot. And I unfortunately didn't get my books done in time. They're just in their little paper book form right now. Yeah, and then I eventually fold them over some art material. What is it even called? Poster board, foam core in the middle. I just haven't gotten to making them, but a couple of them are printed out here. I haven't made all the other ones. So unfortunately, my little books will not be making an appearance in this video. And I'm sorry if you like those, because I love them. I love them a lot. So I feel really sad that they don't get to be in this video. I read 11 books, as I said, and I started my month off with Clean Out of Luck by Carina Taylor, and I gave this one 3.75 stars. Unfortunately, it just didn't work for me like most of her other books have. Carina Taylor is one of my favorite authors, mostly because when I started my reading journey, again, 2.5 years ago, Carina Taylor was one of my very first contemporary romance books I picked up, and I gave her book 5 stars. If you don't know, it's called Tuesdays Like That. I've loved most of her books since then, almost all of them. There's a couple in there in that same series of Tuesdays Like That that I didn't love, that I didn't enjoy, maybe just one of them. But since then, I haven't read a book that I didn't like from her. And it's not that I didn't like this one. I still thought it was cute. I mean, I gave it 3.75 stars. I rounded up to 4 stars on Goodreads. So it isn't like I hated it. I didn't. I still thought it was cute. It's part of the Only Magic in the Building series. It's a multi-author series. I think I talked about one of those last month, The Serendipity by Emma St. Clair. Actually, let me grab my reading journal. It's over there, so just give me a second. Okay, I'm back. Oh my gosh, so many papers just fell out that I hadn't taped in yet or glued in, whatever. Ugh, my gracious day. Okay, Clean Out of Luck. It's about Wade and Scarlett, and they know each other. They've known each other almost their whole lives. Wade is best friends with Scarlett's brother, so we've got best friend's brother trope. They live in this magical building that's kind of like a matchmaking building, and everybody in the town of Serendipity knows about this notorious building. In this situation, the mop in her basement apartment is like the magical thing in this. I will say I'm a little disappointed on the magical realism in this book. I thought it was going to be a lot more whimsical, and it just fell a little flat in that way. But I mean, it's still magical realism because like all of the stuff that happens obviously is not real life. That would never happen. But I think I just wanted a little bit more whimsy. So that's just my personal opinion. But I mean, again, I thought it was fine. It was cute. It just wasn't my favorite of Carina Taylor's. And the series, in all honesty, as a whole, is kind of letting me down just a little bit. Because, I don't know. I feel like they may have rushed into writing the series together, and it just wasn't well thought out in my opinion. Anyway, Wade's a firefighter. Scarlett is a lawyer? I don't remember what she is. I mean, this was the first book I read this month, and I read 10 since then, so I really don't remember much in all honesty, and that kind of tells you how this book went for me a little bit. I would recommend it. It was cute. I think there are a couple curse words in it, or maybe not. I actually don't remember. I don't think there is though. Carina Taylor swears sometimes in her books, but Nothing insane or terrible, just like 1 or 2. Again, it was cute. It was fine. I liked it enough to recommend it. Then I read Bound by Wishes. Oh, do I have that printed here? I do have the printed paper here. How embarrassing that it's not done. Bound by Wishes by Jessica Spruill. This is a first for me from her. I gave it 3.75 stars. It just wasn't that 4-star feeling. Obviously not my 5-star feeling, but it was definitely better than 3 stars for sure. So 3.75, I rounded up to 4 on my Goodreads rating. Basically, how I can explain it, in my Goodreads rating, I did say that it's a lot like The Mummy and Aladdin mixed together. And that's literally the most perfect explanation of it. She even says that in some of her posts on Instagram. So she markets her book in that way. And it very much felt like The Mummy and Aladdin mashed together. And she obviously puts her own twists on it, which I thought were well done. I enjoyed it. I just think the plot dragged at times and the ending didn't lower my rating by any means, but it's a cliffhanger. So if you don't want to get into the series yet, wait for the next book. I think it's supposed to come out in December. I'm not totally sure. But I would not get into the series until the next one is written. So just a heads up. But I did think it was good. It's about Ronan and Selena. Maybe it's Selena. I said Kayla almost the entire time that I read it. Whatever. I don't know how to say their names because they are from the Middle East. Is that where where does The Mummy take place? Where does 1001 Nights take place? Like the Arabian desert. I don't know where that is. But that's kind of where this takes place. So basically, another thing that bothered me a little bit is the timeline is a little unclear. I don't know when this takes place. Like, I don't know if it's like the timeline of The Mummy where that's taken place in like the early 1900s, 1800s. When does The Mummy take place? I felt like it could have been around that time. I didn't know if it was modern day. I have no clue. And that bothered me a little bit. I was like, what are they wearing? Like, what's supposed to be happening? Because it wasn't really, it is a fantasy, 100%. But it's still, I don't know. I just don't know how to explain it. I just wish there was a distinguishable timeline. So Selena, I don't know how to say her name. She is an archaeologist and they are trying to find the mines of this previous king. And she falls into this pit basically by herself. And she finds this lamp. She rubs the lamp and out comes Ronan. And Ronan is the king who was overruled by his brother, and basically his entire existence was erased from the world. Nobody knows he ever existed. And so he's really upset. He's like, my brother has cursed me to this lamp and I need revenge. So Selena, I will give you 3 wishes and you need to help me to overthrow my brother for the good of my people. That's basically it. They try to get back to the castle together. She tries to infiltrate. Basically, the Aladdin trope I guess it's the Aladdin trope. The Aladdin trope comes in where instead of the genie turning a street urchin into a prince, he turns an archaeologist into a princess, and then he falls in love with her. But that ending though, I will just tell you now, you're gonna be like, what the freak? Why did this end like this? So just a heads up, because I did not see that coming. So if that doesn't intrigue you, just hold your horses until the next book comes out, because I promise you will not want to be waiting on that, because I am desperately sitting at the edge of my seat ready for the next one. So I do recommend it. It wasn't like a 4-star just because of some petty things like the plot dragged. What else did I say? The time was unclear. Some of the things that the main characters did, I was like, whatever. Still good. Most definitely going to read the next one, and I would recommend it. Then I read the next book in the Only Magic in the Building series, and this one is called Off the Wall by Julie Christianson. And oh my gosh, my neighbor's home and he's seeing me recording. That's always so fun. Okay, you can't see me anymore. Okay, Off the Wall, Julie Christianson. So this is about, oh my gosh, I didn't update my journal this far, and so I don't know the names. I usually have the names written in here, and I'm recording on my phone, so I'm gonna have to go to my iPad over here and figure it out. Cash and Nori. Cash is like a implement salesman, And I actually had somebody reach out to me on Instagram asking what the heck that occupation was, because I stated what he was in my review. And I was like, the only reason why I know what that occupation is because I have a brother who is a implement salesman. So let me explain. Basically, an implement salesman is somebody who sells medical implements to hospitals. And they're like the sales bro of the medical world. So do you know how there's like solar salesman? He sells like knee replacements, hip replacements, medical beds, really any medical device, if you will, used in a surgery, he sells. And so when he sells to a doctor, the doctor usually has them sit in on surgeries, and so he's usually scrubbed up most of the time. So that is what a surgical salesman is. If that, just to give you a little background on who this main guy is in this book. Nori is I think she works at a tea shop, and she gets the news that the lady is selling the tea shop, and she's like, well, I would like to buy it from you. And the lady's like, sorry, you don't have any money. So basically Nori is distraught, and she's like, I will go get a loan. I will make sure that I will be able to buy this tea shop. And so that's basically her plot line. And then Cash is her neighbor. They literally are next door neighbors, I'm pretty sure. And the magical thing in this book is a mirror. She keeps seeing him in this mirror. And so kind of cute. I gave this one 4 stars. This one was definitely my favorite of this series. I've read 3 now out of the 8. I think there are 8 of them. So this one has been my favorite so far. This one felt a little different than the other 2. The other 2 were kind of silly, not very serious stories. This one felt a little bit more serious just because of some of the things that Cash and Nori go through. And I felt like they had a deeper connection than the other characters have. And I enjoy that a lot more than the surface level, like cheesy stuff. I prefer a grown-up relationship, which some of these relationships feel very high school most of the time. And this one did feel a little bit more whimsical than the rest of them as well. So that's probably why it just did better for me while I was reading it. So this one's definitely been my favorite. Highly recommend. Other than that, I think it's a forbidden romance. I wrote that in my review. I'm looking at it from over here and I'm trying to remember some of the things from it, and I wrote forbidden romance. Why? I don't know. I don't know why. Well, there you go. I would recommend it. It was cute. I enjoyed it. This was my first book by Julie Christianson. So I would probably read more from her. I liked her writing. So yeah. Then I read Some Like It Scot by Pepper Basham, and I gave this one 3.5 stars. Pepper Basham really is like a hit or miss author for me. There was this one book that I really, really loved by her like 2 years ago. It's called Mistletoe Countess, and it was really funny. I really enjoyed it, and that was like my first encounter with her. So I thought all of her books would be that way, and they're not. She has this one series that I didn't love at all, and then this one just felt like that other series. It just, I don't know. Maybe her contemporary romances just aren't for me, because the Mistletoe Countess one is like a book that takes place in the 1800s, early 1900s. I don't remember which, but I think she writes Regency time way better than contemporary romance. Take with that what you will, but this one is a contemporary romance. And I didn't love it. It was fine. I did rate it 3.5, but I did round down on my Goodreads. So rate down, I guess, to 3 stars on Goodreads. But basically, the best way I can explain this is also comparing it to a film. I feel like this month I read a lot of books that felt very similar to very popular films, which was fun because I think that's a great way to market a book or explain a book to other people. This one felt a lot like the movie Austenland. I don't know how popular that film is, but I was introduced to it after high school. One of my best friends, and she still is to this day, introduced this film to me, and it is just so silly. It's just a good time. It's got that lady, the blonde lady from Jennifer Coolidge, she's in it. And so she's like herself. In every other film that she's ever in, she acts that way in this film. I'm pretty sure she's in it. Anyway, this is the Scottish version of the film Austenland. And basically it's like live action role play kind of, where they dress up in Regency time outfits and like role play and like live in that time. So she is like a journalist, and she is an aspiring author, but nobody knows that about her. And so she goes to Scotland to experience the Edwardian experience, is what it's called. And she meets Graham. The girl's name is Katie, by the way. She meets Graham, who owns the house, or who is trying to buy back their ancestral home. And he's like this brooding, big Scottish guy. And they have a funny meet cute. I just felt like the chemistry and the romance itself was very lacking. I did not feel like these two worked together. I don't really know how else to explain their relationship, because I felt like, I don't know, they have a lot of interactions together, but they just felt very surface level. I was like, how are these two people gonna give up everything for each other? Because like obviously she's from America, he's from Scotland. That doesn't work very well. And they have a really dumb third act breakup. Like it lasts 2 pages, just so you know. Very unnecessary, but at the same time made a little sense, because again, they're from different countries and she's going back home after her assignment is over. And I don't know. It felt, I don't know, maybe Pepper Basham's writing just is not for me. I think Mistletoe Countess was like a one-off for her, for me. So anyway, I think the book itself and the explanations of the country was beautiful. It just, I don't know, it just fell really flat for me. I didn't really love it very much at all. And I did skim quite a few pages of this book just because I was like, oh, there's so much not happening. And I just was like, I don't want to read this anymore. So I mean, I would recommend it still, basically. If you love Pepper Basham, then this is like all for other books, and so you would very much enjoy this. I just think Pepper Basham's contemporary romances are not for me at all. So, then I read, you guys saw this earlier when I was showing you my little pages, Fearless by Lauren Roberts, and I gave this 3 stars. It was the most disappointing book I have read in the last few months, pretty sure. I hated it. I'm surprised I didn't rate it less than 3 stars, but basically Kai and Peyton get all those 3 stars, and that's all. This book was completely unhinged and ridiculous. I don't want to get into it that much because this is the final book in this series. And the sad thing is, I gave the first 2 books 5 stars. The first book was incredible. The second one, it was really nothing special, but there was something about Kai and Peyton spending a lot of time together in that book that I just ate up. I really like when characters spend a lot of time together and there's a lot of dialogue, which the book 2 was like just dialogue between those two, and I ate that up. And then this one, I don't know, it was just so strange. I won't get into it. You can go read my review on Goodreads. It is quite lengthy. It's the longest review I've ever written. I just have a lot of issues. And if you have issues too, message me on Instagram or something, or send me a message in Goodreads, or send me a comment, and then we can message each other on Instagram, whatever, and talk about this book. Because if you liked it, that's fine. There were so many people that loved it, gave it 5 stars. But I just don't see how you could like it. I really don't. There were so many issues that people completely overlooked. One in particular that I'm sure if you've read this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you haven't read it, I will keep my mouth closed. I just had a lot of issues. It gets 3 stars just because of the relationship between Kai and Peyton. But then again, there were some issues I had between them in this book as well. Again, go read my Goodreads review. It will explain everything. And just such a disappointing ending. Honestly, I could recommend the first 2 books. This one, I, in good conscience, cannot recommend it whatsoever. It was terrible. It was so bad, and an extremely disappointing ending to the series. So, that's just my opinion though. A lot of people really liked it, and that's fine. You can like it, but I will judge you. I'm kidding. Let me just preface. Lauren Roberts has a incredible poetic writing style. It's beautiful. But after 3 books, it was extremely repetitive. I did not want to keep reading. It was 600 pages, by the way. And it could have been 300 pages, easily. It easily could have been 300 pages. But she throws all these really beautiful, flowery, poetic words and phrases and sentences and this dialogue and the internal monologue in these characters. And I was just like, I don't want to read this anymore. I'm so sick of Kai saying, be my undoing. Okay? You probably know exactly what I'm talking about. I was just done. So done. I'm getting on a rant here. I can feel my heart beating quicker. I just have so many issues with this book. And no hate to Lauren Roberts. I just don't know what happened. Like, how she could have written 2 incredible books, in my opinion. And then this. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't. There is also 2 F words in this book, in like the very ending of this book. And I was like, why would you put the F word in this book when the other 2 did not have this? I mean, granted, there's a lot of language still in all 3 books, but the F word was put in, and I was like, why did you do that? Why did you do that? And they are emotionally charged instances that made sense, but like at the same time, it's like, you didn't have to. You didn't have to do that. So that bothered me a little bit, but what do you do? Definitely do not recommend this book in any way, shape, or form, and that is very unfortunate. So I can't recommend this series as a whole, unfortunately. After that travesty of Fearless, I read Goldie on a Roll by Elise Haynes. And I gave this one 4.5 stars. I think it was my favorite book of the month. And I loved it. Elise Haynes is a new to me author. I've been following her for a while on Instagram. I just haven't picked any of her books up. And I applied for this book because it looked absolutely adorable. And I loved it. I loved it so much. Elise, her writing style, her humor is very much my kind of humor. And I really connected with that. And I thought it was really well done. So I liked her writing style and obviously the humor. It is about, I'm looking at my review over here, Goldie, obviously, and Ben. And Ben's sister convinces him to hire Goldie for the summer, working at Lake Powell, I'm pretty sure. He's a security guy. He like is in charge of all the security people on the docks, because there's like a ton of boats docked at this marina, basically. And they have to patrol the area all day. So Goldie, they have a disastrous meet cute, and he doesn't like her, and she thinks he's a bear, an absolute grump. He hires her, obviously, as a favor to his sister, because Goldie and his sister are best friends. He puts her on the night shift, thinking that this will break her and she will want to quit. And obviously, she is like this really sunshiny personality. She was so fun. And she doesn't quit. It's a workplace romance, kind of a bit of forbidden romance a little bit. There's dual point of view, which is really nice. I do like seeing the male's point of view. Boss employee, secret dating. It all encompasses like a lot of tropes that I really enjoy. So I loved this one. It was so cute. It was so sweet and humorous, and the characters were so fun. It was absolutely delightful. Like, Goldie was chaotic, but like so fun. And Ben was the most wholesome guy ever. He's probably the most wholesome guy I've read about in a while. He was just so tender. He was so tender. There's some things that he says, I'm like, what kind of man says something like that? Like, it was so sweet. And I really enjoyed it. Highly recommend. It's the perfect summer read. It takes place around Lake Powell during the summer. It was just if you want to get into your summer books right now, which summer is 1 month away, I would recommend reading this one for sure. It was really well done, and I will be reading everything that Elise Haynes has written. I think there are 4 books in this series, so I will be going back and reading those other 3 because I thought it was a lot of fun. So fun. My kind of book. Although, I don't usually love just the fun and fluffy and flirty books because I like deeper things, deeper tropes than what this is. But this was so good. It was just a lot of fun. Oh, there is no language and kisses only. So most of these have been kisses only. Oh, Fearless is fade to black, but it's not explicit. Again, I'm not recommending that book, so you don't really need to know anything else, I guess. And every other book that I've read since then is just kisses only. And maybe a little bit of language in some of those, but no F words in those except for Fearless. Now I have a physical copy of the next book that I read. I got a advanced reader's edition by Shadow Mountain Publishing. And I love being on their influencer team. It's a lot of fun. And no, I did not annotate this. My mother read it and found mistakes and she tabbed them. And I'm like, I'm not reaching out to this company. I'm not going to do it. They'll probably find it anyway. This is an advanced reader's edition for a reason. So hopefully they found those mistakes. Otherwise, my mom will throw it in my face that I didn't tell them. So, oops. But I gave this one 4 stars. Shadow Mountain Publishing is one of my favorite publishing companies. They have published so many good books. I don't think I've ever read a book published by them that I hated. But the reason why these kinds of books, I love them, is because when I started reading, I've read my whole life, but when I started seriously reading when I was 15, all of the books on my mom's shelf were published by Shadow Mountain Publishing. And they were all Regency romances, just like this one. And proper romances, if you will. And I just love their books. Not necessarily like, all of these authors are incredible. Like, all of the authors that they publish are really good writers, and I really like their writing styles. They all feel very similar to me, and that just works for me because I've loved these kind of stories since I was 15. So I think that these books will always hold a special place in my heart. And this one was good. I gave 4 stars, like I said. It's called Rules of Matrimony by Anneka R. Walker. It's a marriage of convenience. So, a marriage of convenience, I don't think Shadow Mountain Publishing, I mean, they may have a couple, but they don't do a lot of marriage of convenience. And so when they do, it's really good. So this one is about Ian and Amy, and their meet cute is so funny. I actually laughed. It was ridiculous. I was like, what is happening right now? It was really funny. And their marriage of convenience comes about in a very different way than usual. And it was refreshing in that way. I was like, oh, that makes sense. It's beneficial for both of them, which a marriage of convenience usually is. But it made sense, especially for this time. I was like, oh, that totally happened. I am sure of it. I'm sure that has happened. Because there are some marriage of conveniences, like contemporary ones, where I'm like, that wouldn't happen. It wouldn't at all, ever. So this one felt a lot more realistic in that way. I mean, I still love marriage of convenience even when it's not realistic. So, I mean, I can't say much. Basically, something happens and they have to get married. And I think the reason why it got 4 stars, not 5, is because he beat around the bush a little bit too long for my taste. Amy was an angel. She just wanted to be loved. And he wasn't willing to give that because of some of his family members. He didn't want to be and become like them. And so he just stays away from love. And he just tried to deny himself a love match. And so he really kicked his feet and he beat around the bush for most of this book. And I was like, come on, man, you know you love her. So I enjoyed it. Super clean. Obviously, Shadow Mountain Publishing only publishes clean books, like completely just kisses, no language. Again, their meet cute was really funny. And if you don't find it funny, then you don't have a humorous bone in your body. I thought it was funny. I enjoyed it. 4 stars, highly recommend. Shadow Mountain Publishing. They're amazing. I love them, and I love being an influence for... This is like full circle. Like little 15-year-old Mary would be like, you read their books before they come out? No way. Yeah. Yeah, I do, and it's awesome. I think it's so cool. I don't know if people think this is as cool as I make it sound, but like this book came out... This isn't even out yet. This comes out May 6th. I think this is the only book I read last month that's not out yet. So... 4 more days and this book is out. So look forward to it. It was really cute. Then I read Bride of the Midnight Prince by Anastasis Blythe. I read Bride of the Fae Prince last year, gave it 5 stars, loved it. This one I gave 4 stars, didn't love it as much as the last one, but I still enjoyed it. This is a series. I think there's going to be a 3rd one. I'm hoping so. I don't know who it would be about, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be another one. But it's basically marriage of convenience, arranged marriage kind of situations for both of these, and I love that. Obviously, you know me. This is Rock's, Prince Rock, I think is his name. It's not spelled Rock, it's spelled R-A-H-K, Rock. And it's about Rock and Cat. And Rock is he's in the first book. He's mentioned a few times, and I was very, very excited to get his story because I knew that was coming. And he's best friends with the prince from the last book. So basically, Ash is the prince from the last book, and he asks Rock to go to the human world and basically be a liaison for Fairyland, and they have to work with the human queen to like piece make something peaceful. I don't remember totally what that was about. But he stays at this estate, and Cat charades or parades around as a 12-year-old boy servant. And so she is Rock's servant. And he knows from the very beginning that she is a woman. And it's very humorous. And basically she saves a lot of humans from fairyland, and Rock doesn't know that. So she like is working underneath him while also stealing people from his kingdom, and he has no idea. She's doing it right under his nose basically, and he's also tasked to hunt her, and he doesn't know it's her. I really enjoyed their dynamic when she was a little boy. As weird as that sounds, don't make it weird, because he knows she's a woman. She just doesn't know that he knows that she's a woman. And he asks her to do things sometimes that I was just like, that is so funny. That is really silly. I can't believe he just did that. And just their dynamic. It was just different than anything I've ever read before, obviously, because he has to pretend that he knows that she is a boy, but like she's not a boy, right? So that's just hard to explain. I'm sorry. But once he finds out her true identity, they get married, obviously, for reasons. I know the reasons. And it's just their friendship. I liked how they were friends. I liked their friendship, how they became friends when she was a 12-year-old boy. So, oh, that sounds so weird. I promise it's not weird. It's not. I have to convince myself it's not weird. I don't. It wasn't weird. It wasn't weird, and if you make it weird, that's your fault. But I thought it was really good. I gave it 4 stars, like I said, and I don't know, Anastasis, her writing just works for me. It's a lot of fun. There's humor, there's action, very well done plots. This one just wasn't as good as the first book in the series. I think it was too long. It was really, really long. It's over 600 pages. So be prepared for that if you do end up picking this one up. Her books are really long, but they're very well done. They're very well done, and they are worth reading. So I would highly recommend it. No language, kisses only. So what can you lose by picking this one up? Nothing. I think it's really good. It's a very refreshing book, because if you guys can't hear that, that's a construction person. What was I saying? I don't even remember what I was saying, and I'm not going to go back in my video to find out. So all I am going to say is I recommend it. So there's that. Then I read The Heir by Kayla Eshbaugh. I'm pretty sure. I was on a tour with Closed Door Romance. I gave this one 3.25 stars, rounded down to 3. Not because it was a bad story, but because I'm not the particular audience for this book. It's very much lower, young adult, upper, middle grade. So this one has been compared a little bit to the Twilight series. I kind of see the connection a little bit, but not really. Very soft comparison, if you will. I'll just explain a little bit. So it's about Emma and Shad, and Emma loses her parents in a car accident 6 months previous to the beginning of this book, I'm pretty sure. And there's a boy who moves in across the street from her, and all of a sudden she feels like her soul is becoming happier, because she's in deep depression. She has not felt joy since her parents' passing. She sees this boy and she's like, why my soul is singing? Why am I feeling this? My heart's beating quick. I was like, okay, insta love alert. I'm not a fan of that at all. I mean, it makes sense. They're kids in high school, and kids in high school kind of are that way. And Shad's kind of like way into her too. So it just, their relationship was very instant, and I don't love that. And plus they're 16, 17 years old. And I don't relate to those kids anymore. I'm almost 26 years old, and so I'm just like not that at that point anymore in my life. I probably would have eaten this up when I was 16, but not currently. But basically she finds out, well, not really. At page like 200, she finds out she's this specific person. I'm not going to get into it because it kind of spoils the plot a little bit, but it is a little bit of a portal fantasy, I think. Yeah, it's a portal fantasy. And Shad is obviously part of this whole thing. So I just was a little bit bothered that the family keeps things from her and they know things that she doesn't know. And I'm like, how are you not questioning these people? You can go read my review about it if you're curious, but I think there is a little bit of spoilery stuff, kind of. It was fine. It's a unique fantasy world, in my opinion. Some of the elements that happen felt different than most fantasy books, which is a good thing, I guess. There's no language. It's kisses only. There's a huge cliffhanger. Something terrible happens. And I think it was good enough for me to read the next book. So I am going to read the next one this next month. And hopefully this one's a little bit better. The writing just felt extremely juvenile, in my opinion. Like, not just because these kids are juveniles, but because the writing felt like it was written by somebody who was juvenile, like a 16-year-old. So I hope, I'm no hate on this author whatsoever. That's just how it felt when I was reading it. I would highly recommend it to kids in middle school, 100%. I think they would eat the story up, but it just wasn't, I'm at a time in my life where this just doesn't work for me as it would have when I was younger. With that said, like I said, I will be reading the next one. So, and I will let you know how this series goes and if it gets better for older people like myself. Then I read Never With You by Kortney Keisel. And this one is out now too. Yeah, every book is out except for this one. And Kortney Kiesel's writing, I said this in my review, just like works for me. She's like a Carina Taylor for me, where really any book that I pick up by her isn't really going to disappoint me, just because her writing just works for me. It sounds like I was dying. It's a lot like You've Got Mail, like very similar to You've Got Mail, but that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing whatsoever, because I love You've Got Mail. It's one of my favorite films of all time. In book form, I really liked it. It obviously has its own twists on that tale, and I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. And instead of being rivalry businesses like the characters in You've Got Mail, these two are co-workers, and I think that element made it a lot more fun. There's like a forced proximity situation. So basically, they get hired to work a job in Thailand together. While there, they have to do a little bit of fake dating, and they are office enemies, and they really truly do not get along at all. And it made sense because like he's kind of the worst. Both of these characters were kind of the worst, and a bit insufferable, if I do say. But they do both grow on me. I did eventually come to understand these characters. I enjoyed them. Yes, I hated them in the beginning. I was like, why are these people acting this way? They're the worst. But I do come to love them. Both really fun characters. What are their names? Nate and Carly. And I don't know. It was a lot of fun. It was just really fun. And I have no issues with it whatsoever. Although I did give it 4 stars, so I guess I had a couple of issues. But it just didn't feel like a 5-star read for me. Maybe their enemy relationship lasted a bit too long. I think they both had preconceived notions of each other, and they just didn't give each other a chance until a little bit too late for me in this book. But I still thought it was a lot of fun. It's just fun. It's just a lot of fun. It's really unserious, and I enjoyed it a lot. So both of them have baggage, and they come to understand each other, and I came to understand both of these characters. So, and Kortney Kiesel's writing is just one of those things that just works for me. So, kisses only, no language, a lot of fun. And I think it's a perfect summer read. It takes place in Thailand, so it's a really fun setting, and yeah, a lot of fun. Okay, I feel like I've been talking for ages. I'm losing my voice. But this last book, it is the last book, I swear, is called The Dating Game by Heather Miekstyn. Miekstyn? I get her name wrong every single time. But this one I gave 4 stars to. A very soft 4 stars, maybe 3.75. This one is a Christian rom-com. Heather Miekstyn has since become a full-on Christian romance author. There's like prayer and scriptures, and these characters work in the church. So basically, Brooke and Will, they have this really funny meet cute, and they keep seeing each other, and it's basically like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days and 10 Things I Hate About You kind of thing. I think that the author does explain it like that sometimes. And I did get those vibes for sure. But basically, Brooke's best friend and her have a bet that she can't hold a relationship for 2 months. And so her friend picks Will to be the person. And Will finds out that they have a bet and decides to be the worst person ever, trying to get Brooke to break up with him before 2 months is up. And he finds himself falling in love with her anyway. And she's like, why is he acting like this? He was so nice to me when we first met. She has no idea that he knows about the bet. And it goes from there. It was fun. I enjoyed it. So they are like dating in this book. I've loved the progression of this series. The first book in the series is called The Friend Game. So those two in that book are friends, and they do show up in this one as well. And this one, Brooke and Will are dating. They go on a mission trip together to Texas. They are like the camp counselors kind of thing for this mission trip. And they date. And the next book, I think is coming out in June, is about a married couple, and I think it's Brooke's sister. Brooke and the main girl from book one, their sister, who is married. And I'm really excited to read that one, especially from a Christian point of view. And I think it's going to tackle like marriage struggles, and I think that's really important to read about at times. I find it interesting, especially since I'm married, to see how married relationships are in a Christian worldview. And I find that fascinating. So I'm very excited for that next book. And it does come out in June. So I am on the ARC team as well. So I will be reading it before it comes out. And I'm very excited to get a hold of that one. It was fun. Again, another summer book. Very summery. It takes place in Texas during the summer. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. There's really nothing terribly special about it. I just think Heather goes about this Christian genre well. Her characters are like God-honoring characters, and I really like that, especially in literature today. I feel like none of these relationships feel like how these characters felt, in my opinion. If that makes any sense whatsoever. I'm kind of just rambling at this point because I've been talking forever. But there you have it. That's all the books I've read in the month of April. But basically, I think I had an average rating of 4 stars this month, so I think it was a good month. Maybe 3.5 is my average. But I think it was a good reading month. I enjoyed most of the books I read. Obviously, Fearless was terrible, and that was the worst book of this month. That's it. I feel like that was... I talked way too long. Way too long. If you guys haven't noticed, my super cute pink nails, they are fake. You probably could tell. I got these like press-on nail. I've never done press-on nails in my life, but my sisters were doing it, and so I was like, you know what? I will join you. And I actually kind of like them. It took me a couple days to get used to a foreign object glued to my fingers, but I like them. And I don't have to paint my nails, because last time I painted my nails with gel nails, like LED light, I got chemical burns, and they destroyed my nails underneath. It took me like a month for them to grow out completely. I got like scars underneath my nails, and like blood and scabs. It was, that's getting a little graphic, but I really did. I got chemical burns under my nails, and it was terrible. My nails, I couldn't put pressure on my fingers for like a whole month. It just hurt so bad. So I have to stay away from gel nails. I don't know if I'm allergic or not, but I think at this point I am. So I started a different route because I hated not having nail polish on my nails. I just felt not very feminine. Not saying that you aren't feminine if you don't paint your nails, but it makes me feel a little bit more feminine when mine are painted. So I really like them. Let me know what you guys think if you want to comment about my nails. But that's it. That's all. I'm done. I'm done speaking. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.